Okay, cool. Well, let's get in here. It's wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today.
Yeah, it's good to meet you too, Joe. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. So let's begin our journey with this. I always start with the COVID question. I don't think we've talked about it a whole lot, probably because there's levels of it that was traumatic. But at the end of the day, how did you get through that COVID era, and how has it influenced the way that you create and do work and live today?
Okay, you got a minute?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you do. Um, I had over a 30-year career that came to an abrupt end in 2019. The organization that hired me, they begged me to come work for them. They wanted change, and I've always been a change agent, you know. And I said, okay, well, some people like the idea of change more than they like change.
Yeah.
So they let me go. And it was devastating. Well, I came home, I told my wife, hey, it's time to pivot. We got to do this quick. And we've always moved pretty fast. So we had that going for us. And we decided we were going to open up our dream business in 2019, which was a coffee shop, restaurant, beer, and wine bar all in one. And we opened up that thing and with fanfare. I mean, the town was excited. It was super artistic. It was called Reset. At 4 o'clock every day, the entire environment changed. We changed the art on the walls, the music, the everything about it, the menu, the way that the staff was dressed. It was a live music venue. It was great. We opened our doors 6 days before the shutdown.
Wow.
So, my first meeting with my staff with tears. I was a wee baby. My first meeting was to let my staff know that they didn't have a job. I said, you can stick around and I'll rehire you when they open things up. But if I were you, I'd be looking for another job. Some of them stayed, which was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
They kind of stayed on, but that was a roller coaster ride during that time. California was not the best place to have a restaurant, period, let alone open up a new one.
Yeah.
We got zero financial help because, you'd apply for financial aid and they would say, how much money have you lost? Show us your records from this state to this state. And we'd go, well, we just started.
Yeah.
I could show you how I'm draining my retirement account. Um, I can show you how, I'm having a hard time paying my employees, and I'm eating Taco Bell all the time. I have nothing to show for this.
Yeah.
Anyway, we lost pretty much everything, and our last card to play was to sell our home. We had a nice little home in the historic district, um, and we sold it and we paid off everything and closed shop. So we didn't lose the business per se. I mean, we lost everything, but we sold it and took what we had left and hit the road and said, I'll do music full time and you do your art full time, and we'll live with a much smaller budget.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it taught us a lot for sure. I mean, we're more resilient. Um, Nothing surprises me
Yeah.
anymore. Nothing. All of the little, the left hooks that come at us. We're like, oh yeah, we're used to this.
Yeah.
That this happened with our restaurant. Every single week there was a new rule.
Yep.
So
Wow.
anyway,
That's insane. So let me ask you this. If you were to synthesize what you do right now for a living for a bunch of 13-year-olds at career day, how do you explain what you do for your day job right now?
yeah. Well, I have a few different revenue streams, but they're all tied to music. And the main thing that I do is I'm a performer. I have grandkids, so I answer this question all the time.
Yeah.
I tell them that Poppy is going out to make people happy by playing music. And they'll ask me, whatever gig I'm headed to, they'll ask me where I'm playing, what people are going to listen to the music. that day. And sometimes I say, man, this is going to be great. People are out celebrating, having a good time tonight, and I get to make them laugh. And sometimes, I'm playing a retirement community, and I'll say I'm going to a place where people want to be happy, and some of them are really sad, and Poppy gets to go in and bring some joy into their lives. And so that's how I would tell a classroom of kids, because that's in real life how I explain it to
Sure.
my grandkids.
So where were you born and raised?
I was born in the San Francisco Bay Area in
Okay.
California, and did that. We lived there in the Bay Area until I was 9 years old. My dad was a yacht painter, and then he picked me up from school one day and he took me to Tower Records and said, buy any cassette tape that you want because the family is hitting the road and going on a trip around the United States for the next few months. And they checked me out of school and took us around the US. My parents wanted to end up somewhere different, and went all over the US and then came right back to California and bought 10 acres about a 2 hour drive from where we were. But we weren't in the Bay Area
Yeah.
anymore. We were in the mountains in the gold country. And
Wow.
my dad started painting houses instead of yachts. And so I went from being a city boy to, riding motorcycles barefoot.
Yeah. So what did you want to be when you were a kid? Was it always music? Was it always the creative arts that you wanted to get involved with?
Yeah, it really was. Honestly, my family, when they would come over to visit, like the extended family, they would set me up on the coffee table and ask me to sing songs for them. And I just had the performance bug early on. And, I mean, Columbia House records and tapes, man, I was gluing my penny to that thing and getting every single album I could, and just trying to saturate myself with that music. I wanted to marry Linda Ronstadt or Stevie Nicks. Either one of them would have been fine.
Right.
They both looked great to me on those album covers.
Yes.
But yeah, I wanted to perform. I think my second love was comedy. Like, I imagined myself being on a comedy show or writing comedy, but no, music. I wanted to be a rock star,
Yeah.
you
That
know?
hey, that's a perfect kid trim. What was your first live show that you saw? The first live concert that absolutely blew your doors down and maybe added fuel to this dream of being a professional musician?
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting question. So my parents, when they moved to Grass Valley, California, all of a sudden the pendulum swung for them. They became super conservative. So, whereas my dad painted yachts in the Bay Area, my mom and dad owned a bar. Like, they were hippies. They had this footloose, fancy-free lifestyle. We got up into the mountains, and it was, blow up the TV and throw away the paper, and I mean, it was like super conservative. So I wasn't allowed to go to shows until I think my first concert, I was 15.
Okay.
Um, and, went with my parents, and it was a Christian rock concert.
Yeah.
Um, but it blew my mind.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Just the wall of speakers and the smoke and the lights and I mean, it was insane.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and that was a band called Petra.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyway, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a story in and of itself, that whole road.
Sure.
But yeah, and then I became an avid concert goer after that. I decided I was going to take my children to every single concert I could afford as they were growing up. And so they have been multiple times to Lollapalooza, Bonnaroo, catching individual shows all over the US, having rock stars stay in our home. Like, they've just been they've done the deep dive with me
Yeah.
into music, so it's been fun.
That's awesome. So, who's been your consistent inspirational force and hero to navigate from these peaks and valleys that you've gone through professionally and as a creator? Who's that been for you?
I've had a lot of heroes growing up, but honestly, I mean, at the risk of sounding kind of sappy, my hero is my wife.
Yeah.
because, you know, dang, don't, I hope I'm not going to cry. I'm a baby.
Oh, so you're good.
Um, when we got married at 19, this was not the life that we planned on. I mean, of course, we loved adventure and we wanted to travel, and she loved I was a musician and all of those things. But and I knew she was very artistic and creative, and we loved to celebrate those things. But we didn't see ourselves in our 50s starting life all over again as if we were 19.
Yeah,
Um, and you know what? I don't think she complains. She she gets sad sometimes. I do too.
yeah,
You know, we have to help each other get through the suck. Um, but in all of that, she hasn't cut bait. You know, I
yeah.
mean, we're almost married, almost 39 years.
Wow.
39 years this year. Um, and we've had, you know, we have 3 kids and 5 grandkids, and we've been through a ton.
Yeah,
And when we sit and count our blessings, man, we have had adventures like way more than a lot of our friends who have a solid 9 to 5 right now and aren't struggling to pay their bills,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
But still, you know, I mean, I want to give her everything.
yeah, yeah.
And so to see her persevere, yeah, yeah, she's my hero. Because it'd be easy to say, you know, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, I dig it. Let me ask you this. Having your own podcast, being a musician, loving live music, the entire music landscape, if you
yeah,
could interview one musician right now,
yeah.
who would you love to interview?
This seems like a cop out, but Paul McCartney. I mean, I know
Oh, absolutely.
everybody loves the Beatles, but
Yeah,
here's the thing. How old's that guy now? 86,
yeah,
something like that.
yeah,
And I love, I guess I feel some sort of camaraderie, even though we live in different worlds, and it's not exactly the same. But he was on top of the
yeah,
world.
yeah.
Um, he was being chased by every woman and man on the planet. You know, I mean, it was like rock star, you know, top grade, and now here he's 86. He's
Mhm.
music is sometimes it seems like a young person's sport. So I'm always in love with the people who are the Paul McCartneys of the world who are still rocking it out. Is his voice the same? No, it's
Yeah,
not even close. But I'll guarantee you, when you see him live in concert, you'll cry. You
yeah,
know, if if you have a soul, there will be something that moves you. I'd love to sit and interview him about. I mean, it can't be all happy, happy joy for him.
right, right.
Um, he's had to write some crappy songs, and he knows it. You know, he's had failed marriages. You know, life hasn't been rosy for him, and still the guy is doing it. He's showing up. I
Absolutely.
love it.
Yeah, totally. I get it. You know, the thing about him, every time I see him in an interview, that kid from Liverpool is always in there. There's always this English charm. There's always this fascination, this wonder, and all of this. And I remember that album he put out in the backyard, which was such a good album. Jenny Wren was on it. There was a whole bunch. It was a really
Hmm.
good album. Uh,
Trying to think of which
something in
one.
my backyard. But that was when he was married to that gal that had the prosthetic leg, and
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah,
got real ugly. That whole thing
yeah,
exploded, and so, but yeah, he's totally gone through the ups and downs. But when you really boil it down, like even Ringo was on Kimmel the other night, I watched it, and it's like
yeah,
there's a level of them that still retain that youthful wonder of why we all loved him as the Beatles,
yeah,
and
yeah.
there's something to be said about that.
I love that. Actually, my podcast episode on the Gig to Live podcast, the one that's coming up, is about how musicians have to be like a child. And I give a top 10 list of the things that we kind of need to recoup, the things that we need to go, that we need to hold on to,
Yeah.
because man, kids are something else. And I get to observe my grandkids all the time, and they're constantly reminding me of the things I still need as an adult.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, you're right, man.
Yeah, it's that whole, yeah, it's that wonder. So let me ask you this. I want to come back to what you went through in COVID, and I hear a lot of stories, not only from that era, but in general, where people had to close things down. You're getting ready to start this new life, but now you have all this mileage on your odometer. When you look back on it, it's not like, oh, are you happy it happened? It's more of when you look back on it and put everything into relativity and think about where your life has gone. Do you look at that and think, man, I want to go back to that moment, hopefully it's different? Or are you okay with where you're at and with the direction of being a full-time professional musician now?
Yeah. I think that's a great question. Yeah, when I hear people say, "Oh man, no regrets. I wouldn't change a thing about anything in life." I go, "That is BS."
Yeah.
Seriously? Like people actually feel like this? I mean, maybe they do, and I just don't understand it. But there is no way I would want to repeat any of that, or I'm thankful for any part of it. I'm really not. Did I gain perspective through it? Yeah. Was I able to find joy in the middle of it? Surprisingly, yes. I think that the town that I was in, one of the people that owned a restaurant next to me, they said, "You're like the mayor of this town, and your platform is hope." And I was like, "I mean, serious?
Yeah.
That So so people were watching, and obviously we did some things right, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud that in the middle of the suck, we were able to survive, persevere, come out on the other side. Not unscathed, man. I have scars,
Yeah.
and would I want to do it again and in a better world? Yeah, no.
Right. Right.
It was too hard. I am thankful that not many people get to try their dream business. We did it.
Yeah.
It didn't turn out great, but I mean, I'd be lying if I said there weren't things that were, sorry, I don't know how to turn off the thing that's dinging on it's actually my wife texting me through this.
I don't hear it. You're good. Yeah, we're totally
Oh,
good.
good,
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't want to go back and repeat any of it. In a perfect world, I just go, no, uh, wow, good game, guys. High five.
That's it.
And I'm happy that I get to try new dreams on for size now.
It's interesting. Her ears must have been burning because you were talking about her earlier
Yeah,
on.
I
So
think
she was.
so. She's like, "What did you say about
What did
me?"
you say? What are you talking about? So let me ask you this, and I know this just because jazz is a niche market. Jazz is definitely not a world where it's lucrative and all of those things. It's not an easy life to do the live music, recorded music, all of it, the industry, the whole thing. And that's like 12 podcasts in one we could talk about. But my question to you is, what keeps you motivated every day to evolve as a musician, be involved with the creation of giving it to people? The business side of it, you have your wife, you have your soul, you have your family. Every day when that alarm clock does or doesn't go off, what is that energy for you to do it at a high level all the time?
I don't always have the energy,
Yeah.
honestly. I mean, some days I wake up and I go, "No, not today."
Yeah.
That's just, um, there are some things, I mean, there's like the high level things like providing for my family, surviving and providing a good life for my kids and grandkids as much as I can, being there for them. Those things keep me going. Um, and then I enjoy helping people. The podcast really right now is kind of an infusion of hope and energy for me, because I enjoy getting messages from people saying this really helped me, this changed me, or hey, I would like you to do an episode on this because I need some help, and then following back up with that. And I don't pretend to have a corner on the market of anything in the business, but but I've been through a lot.
Yeah.
So there is a lot to talk about. And I think I do have things to offer. That energizes me. And then I have a little routine that I go through in the mornings when I'm drinking my coffee. And I ask myself a list of questions, and they all have to do with people and experiences. I say, who am I going to meet today? What new place am I going to walk into today? What new venue am I going to add to the list today? What new experience am I going to have today? How is nature going to greet me today? I just kind of go through this in my head, and it kind of grounds me. And I look forward to what experiences lie ahead for the day. Now, some days I'm going to be stuck in my RV, cranking out work, but I still have that perspective.
Yeah.
And when I'm on the phone or with emails or whatever, I think, man, how great that I'm not I'm not carving widgets.
Yeah.
I'm not stuck in the assembly line. I listened to Ozzy Osbourne's autobiography audiobook this year that, came out just a few years before he passed. And he was talking about all the mundane jobs that he had when he was growing up, before he got into music. And I was like, dear God, thank you. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I have variety. And somebody told me once that um, you are rich when you still have choices.
Yeah. That's such a great quote. Yeah. That's the freedom of it all. So at the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you. You have all these bubbles of people in your world: family, friends, fans, the business side of everything. But you run the show. What is your idea, your perception of what you're putting out into the world?
Yeah. I hope I'm kind. I hope that I'm changing somebody's life. I hope that I'm making a difference somehow. I mean, I really, really do. I That's another thing that fires me up. The potential that something is going to happen somewhere and I might not even know it. I I've helped a few musicians over the years. One I can think of, that took his own life, and it was, super sad. But I have a text conversation on my phone still. It's been on there for the last 10 years, and the last thing he texted me was thank you.
Oh,
And I don't even remember what it was for.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But every once in a while I go through old text messages from people who have passed, and I go, what did we talk about last?
Yeah.
And those things, they brighten my day.
Yeah.
They kind of start to eclipse some of those dark spots in my soul.
Yeah.
Um, so honestly, that's it. And if I'm super super honest, I don't so much like struggling. you
Yeah.
you learn a lot in the struggle. I don't think you really get forward in life without suffering. It's necessary. It's fabric to who we are as humans. But I'd like less of that, and more of just being able to pour myself out for people,
Yeah.
honestly.
Absolutely. So talk to me a little bit about your book, your podcast, any of the good business in your world that people can dive into to get into it further.
Oh, sure. Well, I have been writing for quite a few years. So I had a few books published, and then I self-published some as well. The latest one is called Becoming an Idea Mentalist.
Yeah.
And I actually started writing that book during COVID. And part of that book, there's a short part that talks about my experience through COVID and what it looked like on the other side. But my entire life, people have said, man, where do you come up with your ideas? And I thought it was just something that everybody does.
Yeah.
Everybody has ideas. Everybody does creative things. It's easy. Come on, man, you can do it. But I found out that not necessarily true. So I wrote a book because I started taking stock and keeping track of the habits that I have in my life, the practices, the rituals that I have in my life that I think have positioned me to be able to receive ideas, you know, and or to seek them out and to find them easy and to move fast on new ideas and not be afraid of new ideas. And I found that like people, there's a lot of people that want that kind of info. So becoming an idea mentalist is out there. I mean, you can find it at your local bookstore. You can order it, or you can get it on Amazon or Barnes and Noble or wherever.
Sure.
That was fun. That was a fun book for me. I actually, side note, in December, I'm a professional Santa. I dye the beard. I put on a fat suit. So I've written a couple books over the last couple of years about my Santa experience too, called "Because I Wear the Suit," and it's all a collection of real life stories, real conversations that I have had with people, and I publish 25 new stories a year, one for each day of Christmas, and so that's super fun. So yeah, you can find those online.
Right on.
And then my podcast is Gig to Live is what it's called, and it's really it's for any musician, particularly the ones that want to make a full-time go of it, but anybody who is a gigging musician or creative in any field who's wondering about the gig life. That whole thing is designed for those people, us, me, in the trenches, trying to make something happen. And so that's super fun. And it usually involves a top 10 list of some kind with
Yeah,
the episode.
I love it.
Um, Even if there's way more than 10, I like to think in terms of top 10. And I think people digest things in terms of top 10s. I'm trying to make it approachable and fun. And,
Yeah,
you know,
it's
and then you can go to johnvoelz.com
okay.
and find me there.
Right on. Yeah, it's that Letterman mentality. It's easy for me to conceptualize. John, this has been great, man. I will put all these links in the show notes. So great to meet you. Thank you for your vigor. Thank you for your story. Best of luck with everything, man.
Well, thanks, man. This is great. And I'm looking forward to listening to some jazz today.
Yeah, do it. Get in there.